Hello there, it's Jan back from JB Crafts. Thank you for joining me today. I'm back today with quite a geometric design actually. It's relatively straightforward, and I was sort of spending a little bit of time on Pinterest, just having a browse through, looking at things and looking at ideas, and I came across something very, very similar to this. Really caught my eye, and I thought, what a great scrap busting video this would be. So I've just altered it slightly, but basically using up scraps of card, and I've done mine with washi tape. Absolutely love my washi tape. I've got a whole box full of it, and I thought, you know what, this would be a great way to actually utilize some of it and not have it sitting in the box. So yeah, if you've got washi tape hanging around, dig it out. You know, we're always advocating using the stash, and I'll show you how I've actually made the little tiles here. So if you don't have washi tape, you could use scrap pieces of pattern paper to cut out the ones that are printed. Some of them are just plain cardstock. Lots of different ways around it. They could be stickers, they could be old magazines, anything like that. You know, it doesn't have to be washi tape. I just thought this is a great way to use up some of the stash that I've got, and that's what this channel is all about. I'm always talking about delving into that stash, seeing what you've got and having a look at what you can use. So very, very simple one, very simplistic in design. I love the geometric aspect of it with the squares. Could do this probably with any shape. I went with the squares because the one that I'd seen on Pinterest was done with squares, and similar kind of layout, but not exactly the same. And then I've just chosen to make mine a thank you card today. So I haven't actually put anything inside this one because I thought, well, thank you card, you may want to write an actual, you know, note in there, or a proper message rather than just a greeting inside it. So I've left it blank inside, and it's 5 by 7 in size. So I'm going to show you how I've recreated it. Really straightforward. I've done a little bit of prep work. I will show you how I did the washi tape, and I've still got elements of mine left. All I did was take some pieces of scrap card, so this is all just scrap white cardstock out of my stash, and I've literally covered it in different washi tapes. Didn't actually use this piece, this is a spare, so I'll be able to use this for something else. But yeah, all the different blacks and whites that I'd got, I've just covered, and you can see where I've cut in to some of them to get the little tiles out of. I've just got one bit missing out of here. Didn't actually use the numbers because they didn't fit, but those will go in the box to use on another occasion. And then this one got a good sort of die cutting into some of that. I wanted some that were plain black, so I've just run strips of the black across there. So just literally covering cardstock, I've just stuck it round the edge, and then I've used my little stacking tiles from Tim Holtz just to cut out lots of different size. You can see here, you know, we've got some larger ones, some smaller ones, some little baby ones, just cutting those out. And then I even wanted some smaller still, so I've actually used my mini guillotine to just cut out some really tiny ones as well. So that's what I've got left over that I'll be able to use in future. And what we're going to do today, I say very, very simple today. It doesn't take a lot of supplies, and it doesn't take a lot of time to put together. As I say, I've done the prep work with the tiles, I've done the die cutting. You don't need to see me die cutting hundreds of squares. But yeah, just a plain 7 by 5 card blank. I'm still working my way through the stash that I got out of my craft boxes from when I was working from Crafter's Companion. I've got a drawer full, so just working through those. So 7 inches tall by 5. If you don't have any shop bought cards, it is just a piece of 10-inch card by 7, scored down the centre at 5 inches. You could translate this to any size. I chose the 5 by 7, but it could be square, it could be a DL, it could be the American size A2 card, lots of different ways. And then I've prepared a panel to go on the front and just done a little bit of the work on here. So I've come down 1/2 inch at 6.5 by 4.5 to leave quite a nice area round the edge of the card. The one thing that I did notice was the different colours of white card. You can see there's quite a difference from the card blank. This is my smooth white stamping card that I have, but I don't dislike that. It allows that one to stand away from the card itself. And then what I did is I've measured in, I think we were around about, yeah, 1 3/4 inches. I've just measured in here, and I've got a roll, I've got 2 or 3 of these, just really, really thin. I think this is literally about 2 mil, something like that, or about a 1/16 of an inch. It's quite handy for borders and things. And all I've done is just run that down the card and stick it on the back there to create that sort of division between where I want to put the blocks, the squares. And then because I'd already got my stamp positioner out when I did this, because I did the blocks first and then stamped in the middle, I thought, you know what, we'll get the stamping done while I know it's in the right place and we'll work around it. So I did have some of these little tiles left over. I'm not going to use all of these today, but just to give you an idea, you know, just this is what you can do with them. Just cutting out from those different pieces of washi, you know, and you get some that are pretty much blocked off, and you get some that's got 2 bits of the washi on. You can see we've got this here, and I just think, you know, it just creates a really unusual look. And then I did once, I cut some in plain white cardstock and in black, and then I wanted these little tiny diddy ones, and I think these measure about I did them on my smaller one, so let's just have a look. Are they 1/4 of an inch? Oh, they're about a centimetre square, so 3/8 of an inch square. And I just wanted these little diddy ones that I've done in plain white and black scraps. So I've got all those ready. And what I've done to make it quicker today is I've run these through my Xyron machine, my sticker maker machine. And I've got the ones that I want to use already on here. So I've got some of them stuck together ready. You do not need me to see me sticking goodness knows how many of these together. But I am going to just show you the layout. So these are the 2 that were these are not the largest in the set. This is the next size down. And I wanted, as I say, plain black ones, but they are still washi. And yes, they have a seam down them, but once you get the design on the go, it's not obvious that that's what they are. So I'm actually going to pop these ones down first, I think. Or am I? No, let's start at the top. I want to get the spacing at the top and the bottom. So what I've done with these is I pop them all through my sticker maker, my Xyron. If you have one of these, it's great for anything like this. And then to get rid of any of the surplus, because in the, you know, the original days of the Xyron, we all used to go around the edge of every shape with the, you know, the sort of shaping tools and things like that, the bull tools, to get rid of any excess adhesive. But top tip with this, if you have a die cutting machine, pop it in your die cutting sandwich and add your rubber embossing mat and just pass it through the machine. And what it does is it flattens everything out and allows you to remove this top sheet with none of that sticky sort of strings and bits and pieces. She says if we can get hold of this bit, yeah, it just pulls away without any problem at all. Get rid of that bit, and none of the outside of this is sticky now. The stick is all encased under the tiles where we actually need them. So all I'm going to do is copy my original design, and I just thought this was so much quicker for you guys than me popping glue on them all. So I'm going to start up at the top here, and I'm going to go pretty much parallel, all right, to that design and follow what we did on the original card. So this is just a plain black one. I don't have any washi on this one. And again, we're just going to bring these in line, and I'm just leaving about a 1/16 of an inch gap running parallel with that washi that we've already put down. Then we've got another one in here. Wants a little bit bigger gap there, like so. And then I'm going to come up from the bottom as well, so that I can just judge where I want those larger pieces. So this one I'm going to leave about the same gap at the bottom, and then we want one of that size. We put that one in there. So again, just leaving a little gap between them, and about that 1/16 of an inch along the wash, along this black line here. Then we've got another black one, and again similar kind of spacing, and then we're going to pop one of these larger ones in. And I am going to use a little bit of wet glue. I didn't put this one through the machine, I don't know why. I just thought these are a little bit bigger, they're less fiddly, and just to do a couple with the glue. So any of your chosen glue, whether you want to use tape, I am actually enjoying my Nouveau glue at the minute. It is new to me, but I am enjoying it, I must admit. And then this one is going to go sort of spaced from there. And I know I've got a gap here, but we're going to add another tile in there in due course. So now I know where that one's going, I can position the other large one. And you can see this one is the end piece of the wash, which is where I've wrapped it around the end. That's the only difference. And we're going to pop this one just above about there, and I'm just eyeballing what I've done on the other. I laid all these out dry when I did the original design so that I could decide where everything was going before I committed to sticking them down. Then we're going to join these two together with that mid-size one. I'm actually going to overlap here, which is why I've left the gap here. So I'm going to create the similar kind of gap, tuck it around the sentiment, and pop that across both of those, actually straddling the washi tape line. And then we have got another smaller one, which I'm going to pop below. So this one's about level with the bottom of that one there, like so. And then these, I've actually stuck some of these smaller ones together ready, just for speed. So I've got a plain white one with one of those little tiny 3/8 of an inch, and this one's going to go up in. I just wanted to break up some of that white at the top. And then I've got a white one with a black square on to break up a little bit of this large area here and just keep those squares in place. And then I wanted to just offset some of them now. So we've got one in here, like so. I have got a little black one to break up this one and just link those three together. So we've got the three similarities across the middle. I have got this one, so we're going to offset like we did here and bring this one up under the sentiment, just to sort of frame that sentiment in. I've got one here, so as I say, we're going to stagger again like we did at the top here, like so. And then I have got two more little ones, which we're going to go one at the top here just to finish this line off, and one at the bottom just to finish this line off. You could do this in any colour. I chose the black and white because I've got quite a lot of black and white washi. That's why I decided to go with that colour, but you could do it with any colour. And like I said, if you don't have washi tape, it would be really easy to create with pattern papers, the scraps. I might redo this at some point with the paper scraps. And again, if you don't have the dies, you can cut squares out with a guillotine or a paper trimmer, you know, so it's very, very accessible. But I just love the way all those squares, I love the geometric aspect to it. And then this one, I'm going to use my all-purpose. I did set the other one up slightly on foam tape, but if it's something that you were wanting to mail and you didn't want the dimension on it, we can just pop this piece on flat. So again, I am just going to add some of my all-purpose glue around the edge here, a little bit across the middle, and then we can add this to the front of the card. And there's about a good quarter of an inch border all the way around here, just to lift it away from the card blank. So like I said, I know I'd done some of the prep work on this. It did take a little while to prepare the tiles, but you know, you could create a stash of them, cut the tiles out of pattern paper, but you know, rather than storing the pattern paper, cut them out ready and keep them in a box so that you could, you know, you could throw something like this together if you needed a quick card, a quick make for a, you know, a late sort of birthday, one that you'd missed or anything like that, just because, a thank you card, you know, anything like that. You've got them there to pop together then. So yeah, really, really simple, really straightforward. And then I did have to add some gems. You know what I'm like with the gems. I just thought, yeah, it's crying out. Started off thinking about the black, but there is a lot of black on there. Obviously the white's not going to show up as well, so I went for just a crystal gem on there, and I think it just finishes it off, drawing your eye through all the squares, through the sentiment, and back up this side. So the usual 5 scattered through. And yeah, I think we've done a pretty good job of recreating it. But yeah, I love it. I just think it's quite a, sort of dramatic look almost with the black and white. It would look interesting. It'd be interesting to see what it looks in different colours. But imagine that, sort of stood along with some other cards on a mantelpiece. It would stand out and very simple to achieve. So yeah, use up those scraps, get delving into that stash and see if you want to recreate something like this. So if you enjoyed the tutorial today, give it a thumbs up for me. It does help tremendously with the channel, and I will be back with another tutorial for you guys very shortly. So in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye now.